The just published Australian Defence White Paper contains the words that say, Australia's long-standing partnership with Indonesia remains our most important defence relationship in the region. The slightly older but still recent Australian in the Asian Century White Paper also stresses the importance of the relationship between Indonesia and Australia. Its authors take the view that a stable, democratic and increasingly prosperous Indonesia is squarely in Australia's interests. These are both crucial and accurate statements. And the importance of the relationship between Australia and Indonesia will continue as Indonesia grows its democracy, its economy and its military. Australia takes a close interest in Indonesia because of geography, trade, investment, a shared history and common security interests. We also recognise the important role that Indonesia plays as a leader in ASEAN and fully anticipate that it will take a more important global role in the future. And today, any introduction for a talk by a senior official from Indonesia should acknowledge that despite prior periods of tension, Australia and Indonesia have built an active and mature relationship. The two countries now enjoy a comprehensive strategic partnership, and this includes the Lombok Treaty signed in 2006, which sets out a framework for consultation on a wide range of security issues. And more recently, there's been a defence cooperation arrangement signed in 2012. I think it's very good that both governments are intent on building a strong foundation and a strong relationship. To help us understand that relationship, today we're privileged to have as our guest His Excellency Nadjib Riphat Kesoema, the Ambassador from Indonesia. Your Excellency, on behalf of the Vice-Chancellor of the University, Professor Stephen Parker, may I welcome you to the University. Ambassador Nadjib is an experienced career diplomat who previously served in Australia between 1999 and 2002. And I'll say 1999, and many of you will remember that perhaps that was one of those periods of tension. Well, the Ambassador's back, which I think is a great thing because not only does he know us, but he has the confidence to come back as Ambassador. And in between, he's been the Counsellor and Minister Counsellor of Political Affairs. He's been the Ambassador to Brussels, and he's been the Coordinating Minister for Politics, Law and Security Affairs in Jakarta. I think his experience both as an Australian, as an eminent Indonesian ambassador, makes him qualified to speak today at this lecture on national security matters. Your Excellency, I invite you to address the audience.
Professor Peter Leahy, distinguished faculty members, colleagues from diplomatic community, dear students, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so delighted to be given the opportunity to speak at the National Security Lecture Series here at the University of Canberra. I would like to thank the University of Canberra, particularly Professor Peter Leahy, for inviting me to this important forum. As a former academic myself, it always gives me a great pleasure to be back to campus and engage in discussion with professors and students. I have been asked to share some thought about Indonesian national interest and its contribution toward regional and global security. The topic of national, regional, and global security is indeed timely and relevant, because today we are confronting an array of complex and multidimensional security challenges, both traditional and non-traditional in nature. Armed conflicts, threat of nuclear weapons and weapons of mass destruction, international terrorism, and transnational crimes are some of them. Those challenges are also interconnected, affecting political, economic, and social life of our nations and people. No country is immune from those challenges, not Indonesia and nor Australia. For an Indonesia, an archipelago of more than 17,000 islands, the challenges are even more complex. As a vast country with a huge diverse population, maintaining national security and stability is definitely a challenging, if not a daunting task. Some of you may recall that during the late 1990s and early 2000s, Professor Leahy said when I was here at that time, during the very challenging time, the situation in Indonesia was so chaotic. Severe economic crisis, acute political division, violent ethnic conflicts, and increased separatist activities had made many observers, including some in Australia at that time, predict that Indonesia would collapse like the ones in Balkan. However, after years of challenging and painful period, we managed to endure and even become stronger. Now we have maintained political stability with our democracy becoming more consolidated and mature. Now Indonesia is not only the largest democracy in Southeast Asia and the third in the world, but also the largest democracy where Islam and modernity lives together in harmony. In the economic field, ladies and gentlemen, Indonesia has shown resilience and consistent economic growth, even during the global financial crisis. This year, our economic growth is projected to be around 6.3%, with a total GDP quite similar to the Australians at around $1.2 trillion. We are the largest economy in Southeast Asia and the 16th in the world, and a member of G20. About the GDP of Indonesia, I always joke with our Australian colleague here that the Indonesian 1.2 trillion is quite similar to what Australians have. But we are consumed by 240 million people, whilst you are here only consumed by 23 million people. So that is the difference. That is why we still have many people living under poverty line, and we strive to lift them up to more prosperous people. We have a large middle class, rich and diverse natural resources, as well as young and educated workforce to support continued economic development. Around 80% of the population are in the productive age, which is under 45 years old. In fact, all these achievements have strengthened Indonesian capacity to project new activism in its foreign policy, to play a greater role and to contribute to regional and global order. True, there were times when we were so inward-looking, but once our democratic transition settled down, we resumed our outward-looking posture and became a stronger force of peace and stability in the region. We have since pursued a million friends and zero enemy strategy, and we have become an active player in various bilateral, regional, and multicultural cooperation and partnership in different fields and issues, including those related to peace, security, and stability. In Southeast Asia, Indonesia has a long history as a strong advocate for regional order, peace, and stability through its active participation in various regional organizations and arrangements, the most important of which is ASEAN. Together with other ASEAN member states, Indonesia now is intensifying and consolidating efforts to accomplish the ASEAN community by 2015. The ASEAN community will transform ASEAN to become a single community of 600 million population that is prosperous, stable, peaceful, and outward-looking. A community that is not only brings benefit to its member states and its people, but also will contribute to the complex solution of global problems and challenges. In the political and security field, Indonesia has consistently promoted the strengthening of norms and principles of peaceful relationships among nations in the regions. That is why Indonesia always support and encourage the ratification of Treaty of Amity and Cooperation by non-ASEAN member states. Now the TEC, the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation, has been ratified by 31 countries, including Australia, US, the European Union, and Brazil. This reflects the recognition of the TEC as a code of conduct in interstate relations in Southeast Asia, embodying universal principle of peaceful coexistence and friendly cooperation among states in the region. ASEAN has committed itself to implementing and strengthening the Treaty of Southeast Asia Nuclear Weapon Free Zone, or CNFAS. Ladies and gentlemen, efforts to establish norms have also been undertaken at the wider region of the Asia Pacific. One important milestone was the signing of East Asia Summit Principle for Mutually Beneficial Relations, or better known as the Bali Principles, signed by 18 East Asia Summit's leaders in Bali in November 2011. As you know that the East Asia Summit now is attended also by Russia and United States. The Bali Principle contains a set of morally binding norms to guide the conduct of relations among countries in the Asia-Pacific region that consistently put forward peaceful means and avoid the threat and use of force. Indonesia, together with its Asian fellow members, has also worked tirelessly to develop the region's capacity to prevent, manage, and solve potential conflicts. In this spirit, Indonesia initiated the establishment of ASEAN Institute of Peace and Reconciliation, or AIPR, which was formally launched in Phnom Penh last year. Based in Jakarta, this institute will serve as a center for excellence for conflict prevention and resolution in region, including through collaboration with similar institutes in other regions. Some of you may recall that in 2012, ASEAN's capacity to deal with potential conflict among its members was seriously tested in the case of the border dispute between Cambodia and Thailand. As the chair of ASEAN, Indonesia at that time made intensive effort to facilitate dialogue and peaceful solution of the dispute. As the result, the two parties agreed to resume negotiation and tension significantly decreased. The role of Indonesia as chair of ASEAN in this particular case was very much acknowledged and commended by the international community, particularly the UN Security Council and the International Court of Justice. Indeed, Indonesia's mediation role in the region, of course, was not something new. It has a long history of involvement in conflict mediation in Southeast Asia. Our roles in the peace process in Cambodia in early 1990s and later in South Philippines are some of the most notable examples. Recently, the South China Sea arguments has attracted greater attention from countries in the region and beyond. ASEAN's role was challenged in dealing with this delicate issue. Although not a claimant state itself, Indonesia has played an important role in managing potential conflict in Southeast Asia, in South China Sea. During its chairmanship of ASEAN in 2011, Indonesia pushed toward the adoption of guidelines for the implementation of the Declaration of the Conduct of Party in South China Sea, or we know as DOC, and the commencement of the discussion on the Code of Conduct in South China Sea. And last year, when the ASEAN's unity was once again tested in responding to the increased tension in the South China Sea, Indonesia launched a subtle diplomacy to consolidate ASEAN's position. We realize that the overlapping territorial and jurisdictional claims are still a long way from being resolved. Therefore, we focus on the development of set of norms that would guide regional countries in their conduct in the relation with the overlapping territorial disputes. Distinguished faculty members, dear students, ladies and gentlemen, while the consolidation of ASEAN has been our priority, Indonesia has also been strong advocate of ASEAN closer engagement with major powers in the wider regions and strengthening of the regional architecture in the Asia-Pacific and Indo-Pacific. Either we refer to the term Asia-Pacific or Indo-Pacific, Indonesia's view have been well known and consistent as a strong supporter of an inclusive regional architecture which promote a dynamic equilibrium. It is an architecture that embraces all countries in the region. It promotes harmony and collaboration leading to win-win situation rather than collaboration of zero-sum game. Among all participants, it is marked by an absence of preponderant power through the promotion of sense of common responsibility in the effort to maintain region's peace and stability. Indonesia's roles and contribution, of course, are not confined to our region. In fact, we have been an active player in the global efforts to maintain peace. For example, Indonesia has a long history as a peacekeeper. Since our first participation in the UN peacekeeping operation in 1957, peacekeeping has become a vital element of Indonesia's foreign policy. Currently, Indonesia's peacekeepers are deployed in 7 UN peacekeeping operations with more than 1,900 personnel. Indonesia ranks 15 among the troops and police contributing countries. Only last year, Indonesia established the new International Peace and Security Center in Sentul, outskirts of Jakarta, to be used not only by the Indonesian troops and peacekeepers, but also by our neighboring countries around us. This reflects the Indonesia's commitment toward the maintenance of world peace and security. Indonesia has also been very active in a global nuclear disarmament and non-proliferation, while supporting the peaceful use of nuclear energy. As a further evidence of our commitment to disarmament cause, in December 2011, Indonesia ratified the CTBT, or Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. As a victim of terrorism itself, Indonesia has been a strong supporter to the global effort to combat terrorism under the framework of UN system, including through ratification of International Convention on Counterterrorism and closer collaboration to fight terrorism. In addition to that, Indonesia has also played an active role in the Global Counterterrorism Forum, an informal multilateral forum established in 2011 aimed at enhancing international cooperation to address terrorism. Distinguished faculty members, dear students, ladies and gentlemen, effort to nurture peace, stability, and security cannot be done by a single country alone. It requires close cooperation and partnership among countries. It can also be built on strong bilateral relations between two countries. Indonesia and Australia provide a good example on how strong bilateral relations not only benefit the two nations and their peoples, but also contributes to the region and even to the world. In recent years, the relations between Indonesia and Australia have grown even stronger, perhaps the best relations throughout history. We have established forums for dialogue for further improve the already strong relations between our two countries. Through the annual leaders meeting, our leaders, President of Indonesia and Prime Minister of Australia, meet regularly every year and provide guidance on how to further deepen and widen the relations. We have established the 2+2 Forum, where the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Minister of Defense of the two countries meet and exchange views on issues of strategic importance. To complete our strong G2G relations, we also have the Indonesian-Australia Dialogue as a forum for media, academic, business, and other non-governmental actors meet and discuss. And this is their contribution for the betterment of the relations of the two countries. We have excellent cooperation in all sectors: political, economic, trade, security and defense, and socio-cultural affairs. In the field of security and defense, the defense establishment, armed forces, and the national police of the two countries have engaged in various dialogue, cooperation, as well as joint activities and training. In short, the two countries have very strong level of trust and confidence. Deepening engagement and cooperation in the future will further strengthen the confidence-building measures between Australia and Indonesia. Building on the strong bilateral relations, Indonesia and Australia have been close partners in various organizations, such as the ASEAN Regional Forum, ADMM or ASEAN Defense Ministerial Meeting Plus, and East Asia Summit. A lot of initiative and efforts have been jointly initiated and undertaken by the two countries. As example, Indonesia and Australia have co-chaired the Bali process and managed to make the forum as an active forum to raise regional and global awareness of the the consequences of people smuggling, trafficking in person, and related transnational crimes, and developed and implemented the strategies and practical cooperation in response to. In the field of counterterrorism, the two countries also serve as co-chair in the Global Counterterrorism Forum, Southeast Asia Working Group. Ladies and gentlemen, despite the already strong relations between the two countries, opportunities are open wide for further deepening and widening of the cooperation and partnership. Indonesia welcomes the release of the Asian Century White Paper, the National Security Strategy, and the Defense White Paper, all of which recognize the importance of Australia-Indonesia relations and reaffirm Australia's commitment to further strengthen cooperation and partnership between the two countries. Containing various security-related issues of common concern, the three important documents provide an opportunity for the two countries to work closer to address those challenges and to contribute to the regional and global security. Ladies and gentlemen, the security challenges we are facing ahead are becoming more intricate. Despite all the achievement and progress, we should not be complacent. Domestically, we are still facing a manifold of problems and challenges. Maintaining territorial integrity, managing unity among diversity, sustaining democracy, ensuring rule of law, combating terrorism and transnational crime remain critical tasks in our efforts to protect our people and our country. While protecting national interests is naturally our top priority, Indonesia would remain steadfast in pursuing regional and global security. Within its immediate region, Southeast Asia, Indonesia will continue to be part of ASEAN efforts to create a more stable, secure, and prosperous region under framework of ASEAN community. Indonesia will always and will also continue to contribute to the strengthening of an inclusive and durable regional architecture built on dynamic equilibrium. On the global level, Indonesia will always become part of solution to global problems and challenges through the UN system and through global partnership and forums. Last but not least, Indonesia stands ready to work closely and collaborate with our partners, especially one of our closest neighbors, Australia, to play a greater role and contribute to regional and global security. I thank you so much.
Mr. Ambassador, you were in the chamber with Tony Abbott during his budget reply speech. Does that mean you expect the coalition to win in September? And do you support his policy to turn back the votes to places including Indonesia?
Well, thank you so much. Indonesia is friends of all spectrums of politics here in Australia, and we don't have any intention to choose who will be the winner of next election, because Indonesia is friend of Australia, and I believe that whoever in charge in Australia will continue the hard work that we had done so far.
Hello, thank you. My name's Warren. I'm purely here out of personal interest. The Australian military has in the past and continues to work with Kopassus from Indonesia, and the Australian Federal Police continues to work with Det 88 in counter-terrorism related matters. Now, in the long term, for both national security and regional security, do you see these relationships expanding or growing at any stage?
Well, thank you so much. A very good question, because you are asking about the relations between defense force of the two countries. Kopassus is a special force in Indonesia, and it will maintain as a special force for the future. And I think it's a very good relations between the Kopassus in Indonesia and the Australian Defense Force Special Force here in Australia. And the relations is including the joint training and also training for capacity building of the Indonesian personnel to be trained here in Australia. And for the police, national police members from Indonesia, they have also a very good relations with the Asean Federal Police. We have a good collaborations in, for instance, in exchange of information, in doing the capacity building for the Indonesian personnel, and also to see the information from a different angle, because from Indonesia, perhaps they have a different view on something happened. And so that's why with exchange of information and exchange of view between the two police force, I think it will be very good for the future. Thank you.
Hello, Your Excellency. My name's Sam Farrell-Lee. Thank you for your presentation. You spoke during your presentation about the consolidation of democracy within Indonesia, I guess especially over the last decade or so with President Yudhoyono. I'd like to ask about how, how robust you see that democracy into the future. As we approach the elections next year, I guess the perception is that there are one or two potential candidates that could potentially represent more of the pre-Reformasi era, and certainly there's discussion that potentially there's a danger of perhaps some regression in terms of that development. How do you see that continued development through and beyond the next election in 2014?
Thank you so much, Sam, for a very good question. The Indonesian, the democracy, the development of democracy in Indonesia has been taken place for about 14 years now. And we are growing very strongly. And I believe now the Indonesian people, every a single Indonesia is ready to become the guardian of our democracy. So whoever will be in charge, whoever will be elected as the next president, whether is it Joko Widodo, or Megawati, or Prabowo Subianto, for instance, the people will guard him, to hold up the democracy for the future of Indonesia, because there is no more options for Indonesia now except to hold a democratic system for our future.
Your Excellency, David Wade, if I could move away slightly from security and discussions and move to climate discussions. As everybody knows, Australia, on a per capita basis, is one of the biggest releasers of polluters in the world. I believe Indonesia, though, is also a major polluter, but mainly through the clearing of land. There's been talk recently of major further clearings in Aceh, and I believe there is some controversy between the Aceh and the national governments of Indonesia. I was wondering if you'd like to elaborate.
Thank you, David. Thank you so much. If climate change, really happen, and in an extreme way, that the situation will be very, very bad from now. Indonesia is also the victim of it, because as an archipelagic country, we know that we will face a very difficult time in the future if the climate change happen and the temperature is going up very badly, because there will be many Indonesian islands disappeared from the surface of the Earth. So that's why I think the issue of climate change is also very much discussed in Indonesia. Even the president himself, has given a special attention to the climate change and the environment hazard in Indonesia. If you talk about the land clearing, sometimes there are also cases which brings people who still, using because the difficulties, we don't have enough people or officers to guard our forests. So sometimes it's happened that they clear the land without being known by the police or by the guard, the police guard, the forest guard. And I think last month in Surabaya, the police confiscated, about 110 containers full of timbers coming from Papua and surrounded islands around Papua. And this is illegal timbers. This is, they acquired from illegal logging. And the police now and all the Indonesian justice system is trying to find who is involved, who are involved in this illegal logging. So that's why we try to do our best. We have now the regulations, the law on illegal logging, and very strict law of illegal logging, and we hope that this is also will help the future and the next generation of Indonesia.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ambassador. My name is Andika. My question is relating to security. During President Suharto, Indonesia was known as one of the strongest military in Asia. Well, my question is, after the Reformation era, there is the sort of atmosphere in Indonesia that the surge of military power is somewhat taboo to talk about. And now we see in the Asia-Pacific century that there is a condensation in the region in terms of military hardware, where countries are focusing on developing their military, how will that affect Indonesia in sort of, maintaining their democracy right now and still able to create a deterrence factor in the region? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andika. This is a very good question. It is true that during the Suharto era, Indonesian military is one of the strongest in Asia. And at that time, we tried to give a deterrence effect to our surrounding area and also to the world, that we can defend our country with this capacity. But the time has changed now. Even though we don't have right now, the capacity as before, compared to the modernization of the capacity of Indonesia, but we still use other approach to have friends, to have more dialogue around us. We use the peace and stability approach now. We try to engage with everybody, not only in Southeast Asia, but also in other parts of this region, to discuss and to talk about how to take care and how to solve the problems, the common problems that we have. It's very important for Indonesia now to become to have. I've told you before that we have the principles of 1,000 friends and 0 enemies, and we try to activate that principles, in our daily and interaction with other countries. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Holly. I'm a third-year student here doing national security. I think firstly, I'd like to congratulate you guys on your counter-terrorism task force 88. They have done amazing work from what we've heard.
Oh, thank you.
Secondly, I think the Boston bombings and even the lone wolf attack that's just happened in London with this stabbing of Officer Rigby has proved that terrorism is still a very big threat here. It's a threat to Indonesia, it's a threat to Australia as well. So our task force here, our counter-terrorism units and your task force 88, we talk about a stronger cooperation and a stronger alliance together. What sort of training exercises or anything like that do you see in the future, a stronger collaboration to bring our counter-terrorism forces together? What sort of exercises do you see possibly happening with us?
This is very important that we continue, our exercise and our efforts, collaboration between Indonesia and Australia, because, the threat is always there, and they can, sometimes they put themselves not in a very difficult situation, but they try to enter and challenge the peaceful situation in our countries. So that's why this is very important to continue the training and so on. Thank you.
We talk about the Asia-Pacific century. We're also talking about the Indo-Pacific. We talk about the region. And the region inevitably includes discussion about the United States and its pivot and China. Perhaps you might like to say a few words about the Indonesian attitude towards the US pivot.
US pivot is a very important situation that we face right now, and because there is no special power in this region right now, which is taken care of everybody. We in Southeast Asia, we try to see that the regional architecture should be the result of collaboration of everybody who is have the interest in this region. That is the most important. So that's why we welcome the pivot of the United States, and we also welcome the rising of China as a part of the power in the region right now.
How do you do, Ambassador? My name's Aram from the University of Canberra, United Nations Student Society. My question to you is in regards to the recent bilateral defence arrangements with, signed with Australia and Indonesia. And just as the turn of the 40th anniversary of the five-power defence arrangement in the region.
I'm so sorry, Peter.
Sorry.
Speak more directly into the
Yes,
microphone.
Just in regards to the bilateral defence arrangement between Indonesia and Australia that was just recently signed, and in regards to that, at the same time as 40th anniversary of five-power defence arrangement in the region between Singapore, Malaysia, Australia, New Zealand, and UK. And my question to you is, sir, is there any possibility now that we see a future of 1,000 friends and 0 enemies, and visions by former Prime Minister Kevin Rudd of an Asia-Pacific community by 2020, and of ASEAN to have an economic, social, political community by the same time? Is there any possibility of a convergence for a regional security architecture, perhaps in connection with a defence arrangement, multilateral defence arrangements, and perhaps a greater security umbrella?
Well, thank you so much. Actually, the architecture of this region consists of so many participation. So many initiatives from Indonesia, Malaysia, and the Philippines, for instance, before 1970s. We have what's called the Mafilindo. We also contribute to the architecture of this. We built at that time the first actually regional trust building amongst the three of us. And also, we do understand for instance, the ANSUS or the other architecture, which is organizations which has established in our region afterwards. So that's why now with the ASEAN as the central of the regions, we hope that EAS, East Asia Summit, as and ARF, the ASEAN Regional Forum, also could contribute to the betterment of this region, because the regional architecture of Asia and Pacific or Indo-Pacific needs contribution for everybody. Everybody needs to trust and to give confidence to others, partners, and so we can work together for the peaceful regions of ours for the future. Thank you.
I would like to ask the role of common people, communities, in deterring or in promoting security within the regions. I have learned that late last year there was a small community in south of Bandung, in south of part of West Java, united and able to cancel or to oppose the launch of the boat of people, smuggled. And I think a group of 30 people from Iraq or from somewhere in the Middle East did not go because of this. And I thought this is such a great idea, and just showing the role of community or common people in promoting this. And
yes.
So to what extent this has been spread out. Thank you very much.
I reckon that it is very important for Indonesia and Australia to make a campaign, to make the people of this area aware about how bad they, if they involve with the people smugglings and so on. We had done last year with the government of Australia to to do this campaign to the Lesser Sunda Island, to the eastern part of Indonesia, by holding special seminars for the people, for the common people. So this is the role of the people is very important. If they see that something happened not in a very good way, so they can report to the police or to the Kepala Kampung, the head of village, just for this awareness. I think this is very important. Right now, the people smugglers, they not only hired the people from the southern part of Java and the eastern part of Nusa Tenggara, but they also go to the Sulawesi, even to North Sulawesi, to recruit these people smugglers. So this is very important to make the awareness among the people and to invite them to see that this is not only the problem of the government, this is not only the problems of Australia, this is not only the problem of Indonesia, but this is the problem of all, So I think this is very important, Ibu, to engage the people in so many programs that we will have for the future.
Your Excellency, I would like to refer to events which happened in late 1965 and early 1966. The academics at the Australian National University claim that under orders of General Suharto, something like between 500,000 and 1 million Indonesians were massacred. Now, I hear that repeatedly from academics at the ANU and indeed academics who are friends of mine and Indonesians who are also friends of mine, and they say that that happened. If it did happen, why weren't they brought to trial? Thank you.
Thank you so much for this question. We do understand that there is something happened, between 65 and 66. A big political situation happens, and then a lot of people was detained at that time, and but up to now, the history, the historian, the Indonesian historian, and also the people from justice system in Indonesia, they are also trying to get the real data, the real information about what happened at that time. Of course, Indonesia will be happy, to announce if there any development in looking at this issue to the international community. I thank you.
I'd note to the students that the Ambassador started his talk by talking about national power, something that we've talked about. And I think it's important that we understand that Indonesia is more than Bali, and I think you've helped us understand that. Indonesia, in fact, is a nation of substance, a nation that will become more powerful and more influential. And I think you've also helped us understand that you are outward looking, not only through the United Nations work that you do, but also through your involvement in a whole range of multilateral groups, conflict prevention and all those other things. And I think that we should be confident that the relationship between our two countries is a strong one that will grow, and it is firmly rooted in history, but it's rooted in a common understanding that we need to work together for our mutual benefit, but that we can make a contribution to the region. So on behalf of the Vice-Chancellor and behalf of those who are here today, can I thank you very sincerely for your presentation.